everybody. Welcome back to the Brickanista Broadcast Network here on YouTube. And it's Tuesday, which is our day for doing the 2-minute tech tip, which you saw earlier when we did this on Instagram. And I also have invited the person who created that video, who's you've seen on our show before because she's been with us when we've done Lego Master reviews. So I'm super, super excited to have her here. And please help me welcome Llano River Blue, also known as Femme from the Block. Hey,
Hello.
how's it going?
I'm good. Thanks for
Oh
having
my
me.
gosh. And congratulations on your move to Portland because I think you may have done one episode with us while you were in Portland, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Remy and I. And
Mhm.
hello, Glenn. Good to see you in the chat. And
Likewise.
Woof, which is unusual because Glenn usually comes in with a meow.
Hmm.
So he's switching it up a little bit.
Okay.
So howdy, howdy, howdy. Good to see you. And yes, we are about to get started. And so for those of you who haven't been following the 2-minute tech tips, we just started it this year. And the whole goal of the 2-minute tech tip is to give people an understanding of different techniques that you can do that are very approachable and that you can start working those techniques into your MOCs and your my own creations or builds. And when I was talking to Llano about this, she had mentioned that several people had asked her about doing a short video about customizing minifigs. And I said, that's perfect because many times you're working on a mock and you want to have a certain kind of minifig with a certain kind of arm or legs, and maybe they have a close rendition of what you want, especially the ones with the special side printing on the legs, that it's sometimes hard to find those in the different configurations. So I
Mhm.
wanted to just have a chance to chat with Yano a little bit because she does amazing work with stop motion animation. She does customized minifigs. She does photographs of minifigs. So you're just so talented in so many different ways.
Thank you. Well, my favorite thing about minifigs is I haven't had that much building time in the last year.
Mhm.
So putting a minifigure together is relatively fast and
Right.
inexpensive. So it's really nice of like if I just have a little bit of building time, like at the end of my workday, to just be able to have a result instead of like,
And
well, I got
customizing.
like a tiny bit done on a giant mock today. Like it.
Right. Or stop motion. That takes hours too.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wow. And hello, ahoy, hoy, Brick Jedi. Good to see
I,
you. And I was noticing your fabulous, shiny outfit there. And so I have to ask, where do you find those kinds of really cool jackets?
styled by Target kids. I'm the size of a 13-year-old girl, so it works out.
Really? Seriously?
I
You
mean,
aren't kidding.
my arms are longer, but
Oh, okay.
these are
Okay.
for dots bracelets. It's a little
Wow.
quarter length suit.
Wow. See, that's something that I wouldn't have thought about doing. Oh, look who's in the house. Brick
Oh, hi,
Literacy's in the
Remy.
house. What's up, Remy? Good to see you. Yeah, and since we were talking about your jacket, several people have been asking about the hoodie. I have the hoodie. The hoodie's here. So for
Nice.
those of
Oh,
you who don't know the story of the hoodie, isn't this cool? It's got like
the skull and
this
crossbones?
stripe in the back, and it's got the stripes
Nice.
in the back, and one arm is black, one arm is striped, and anyway, I really wanted this. And the story is that I had ordered this, but it came in a size too big.
Uh,
So I brought it back to the store because I ordered it online. And then the store said, okay, no problem. We'll order your size. And then I kept waiting and it said in process, right? They give you the tracking number. It says in process. Okay, okay. It's been 2 weeks. I better call and find out. And apparently they had canceled my order because it was out of stock. And it was like, you could have told me, you could have told me that. And then it turned out that there was only a few stores that I found that had them in stock. and one of them was in my hometown of Daly City, California. So I figured, okay, I'll order it from there, and I'll get one of my high school friends or one of my relatives, to go, or one of the neighborhood friends to go down
Uh-huh.
there. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed because, first of all, I haven't been there in several decades. So one of the disappointments, which is no fault of anybody's, is that so many people have moved. There's like many people who have moved out of state. Like one of my friends from Houston said that, hey, I'd do it for you, but I'm in Houston now. Another friend is in Vegas and she couldn't do it. And then another friend is in
There's
Antioch,
not a
which,
lot going on in Daly City to keep people there, is there?
well, I guess I always joked when I was growing up that the one thing we did have was bowling alleys. There were like
Okay.
3 bowling alleys in Daly City, so everybody knew how to bowl.
All right.
So so it turns out that I said, you know what? And I called my cousin. I left her a voicemail, and she ghosted me. So I called a neighbor and left a message there, and I sent a Facebook message out to people I knew who lived like within a 30-minute drive. And I was like, okay, nobody's coming through for me. And so we considered this a social experiment
Uh-huh.
about how am I going to get this hoodie back to me. So I made a prediction a week ago, and I said, okay, it's either going to be a Baylug person, somebody in the Lego community, or it's going to be one of my Toastmaster friends, some random Toastmaster that I'm going to send a message to Toastmasters, Daly City Toastmasters. So, by the way, if you're in Daly City, shout out to the Daly City Toastmasters. I literally sent this message on their online system that Thursday late evening. So, because I stream at 8 o'clock and it was like 11 o'clock at night or something. And I noticed they meet Fridays at, I think, 12:30. So I wasn't expecting anything maybe until after their meeting. But in the morning, I got this message, and this guy, Dimitri, he said, oh, I can help you. And so he goes, I can get there by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So he got it for me. And then he sent
Sweet.
me a note. He goes, I'm not going to be able to get to the post office till Monday. I said, hey, no problem. I'm just glad you have it. You have it, and then it'll get to me. And then later in the day, he sends me a note. He goes, oh, actually, I did make it to the post office.
Oh,
So you should be getting it soon. And it arrived yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to check my mailbox. So I got it today and I sent him a photo and I said, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I was right. My Toastmaster friends came through for me. And I think the lesson here, and there's a couple takeaways I took from this. First of all, is that sometimes blood is thinner than water. It's that you can't necessarily rely on your relatives to come through for you on something like this. And I was kind of disappointed by that. But then again, I haven't maybe been as forthcoming with my relatives too. So I was thinking, yeah, there's probably been a few times where I haven't been there for them. So I can't put all the blame on them. But the other thing is that you know, trusting people that are part of your network. And there have been lots of Toastmasters and lots of Lego people who I've come to rely on and who have been, and some of them I've never met. I've met you, so I've had a chance to get to know you, but there's other people like, for example, Zach Martinez. I've never met Zach Martinez. Glenn Copeland, who's in the chat. I've never met Glenn Copeland. I mean,
man,
he's this close.
I bet either
We,
of them would pick up a hoodie for you if they
I
had
think
the
they would. I think they would. I think they'd pick up a hoodie for me if I asked. And then Remy, I only met last fall when he went to BrickCon. So I think one of the things, and like I said, it was like a prediction. Who's going to pick this up for me? And so, and now I have a new friend. Now,
Very cool.
Dimitri and I have been chatting, and I said, hey, I really appreciate you doing that. And if you need somebody to
Awesome.
give a speech to your club, let me know, and we could talk about the hoodie. And I'm going to use this in a speech, right? So, anyway. Okay, so Glenn says we're going to fix that in July. That's because I am registered for Brick Rodeo. Now, I'm
Oh, cool.
registered for 3 conventions,
Okay.
and I'm going to be at Brick Can up in Vancouver. That's in April. And then in May, I'll be at Bricks Cascade, which I think you're going to be at, right?
Hmm.
So if you want to meet Llano in person, that would be a great place to go. And then I will meet Glenn and some other people in person for the first time at Brick Rodeo in July. So
Nice.
that's my schedule. I guess what do they call it? The when bands go on the road, my show schedule.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I just wanted to thank the chat too, because I was telling them the saga of the hoodie and they were like giving me ideas and messages. And then when I figured out who was going to pick it up, I sent them private messages and just said, guess what? We got somebody to pick it up for me. So, Dimitri, if you're listening, thank you again. I hope I get a chance to meet you someday, maybe at a Toastmasters convention. And thank you, everybody in the chat, for keeping my spirits up because I was a little bummed about it. I was just like, I can't rely on certain people I thought I could rely on. And also how much the neighborhood has changed, that everybody has left. But the itinerary. Oh, is that what it is? Is that what they? I thought an itinerary was for one trip, not for like
Oh,
multiple trips. Is that?
interesting.
I don't know the
Yeah, I
definition.
don't
We'll figure that out. But yeah, I'm gonna say like like when Lady Gaga goes on tour, my tour
Uh-huh.
schedule. That's it.
Yeah.
It's my tour schedule.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you want to see the Brickanista, those are the three places that you can go. But anyway, so that's the saga of the hoodie. Thank you for indulging me on that. But so Llano, what are your plans now that you are settled into the Portland area? What are your plans for some of the stop motion that you're doing and some of the other fun mocks that you put together? For example, some really great your Pirate Island,
Hmm.
and I always am impressed with all the different buildings you've come up with and putting in the pirate language and uh-oh.
Yeah. Hmm? Everything okay? Do we freeze?
Okay, having trouble with the internet. I don't know if we're back. Chat, tell me if we're back. I hope we're back. I hope we're back. It looked like we were having a network problem there.
It looks like we're back. Yeah.
Okay, we're back. Thank you, Glenn. It was like the circle of death, when, when I don't want to date myself, but I remember certain applications that, when they're still looking, they're okay, we're back. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Like, I'll have to edit that part out. So, Yano, you've made some amazing builds with the pirate theme. That's,
Mhm.
I think, how you and I also bonded because we're big into pirates. And
Totally.
I was curious what your plans are for the island builds, or what you might be thinking about for Bricks Cascade, stop motion animation. What's on the horizon for Yano?
I do hope to have my Pirate Island, our town, in some form of completion for Bricks Cascade, so that I can have it because it's never been shown. I've shown like a couple tiny parts of it,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, having it's something that like is probably never going to be done. So it's
Well,
because
it's
it's just
constantly evolving,
yeah.
right?
Well, it's like how people
Yeah.
have Lego cities at home.
Yeah.
Like that is my Lego city of like
Right.
I want to just keep adding to it and keep making myself laugh. It has been hard to make time for it. I've been working
Yeah.
full time managing a grocery store for almost a year now, and so it's been a lot of work. Um, and so that's why I don't. That's I was saying earlier, like coming home from work might not have a lot of energy or time to build. So that's why I've gotten so into customizing minifigures because it's
Right.
so easy to do. But I do have a lot of that Pirate Island complete
Mm-hmm.
or very close to completion. So yeah, my goal for Bricks Cascade is to have it viewable, at least transportable. And then for Talk Like a Pirate Day, September 19th, I do hope to have I want to do not like a full animation, but like a
Mm-hmm.
tour with some video, with some like little animation clips, kind of similar
Right.
how on Lego Masters when they animate some of the builds,
Oh
that kind
yeah.
of thing with like narration and some of it's just photos and then some of it's little animated action. I would love to have something like that, just like presenting the full island and telling all the little stories in it.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. And I think too, one of my favorite builds of yours is the market. The market. And you have a radio station too,
Pirate
as
radio.
well.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
this radio station's on top of the market,
Yeah, it's awesome.
and that's
I remember you brought it to Portlug because
yeah.
now we're both members of
Mhm.
Portlug, so
Yeah,
I
I brought
should
it
be there
there.
in March, in or
Nice.
should
And
I
then I
say
showed it.
March?
I showed it at CoveCon too, the market and
Oh
the
yeah.
radio station and another little, because the idea is that it's like an abandoned island that's been built on, so it's like kind of ramshackle things built on top of each other. So I've got the market with the pirate radio station, and then I've also got a tavern with a tattoo parlor and then a barber shop on top. So I want it to be kind of modular like that, just have a bunch of different little
Yeah, I
sections
can't
for
wait. I can't
transport.
wait to see it all together
Mhm.
when you bring it to Bricks Cascade. But I do want to mention I'm making a commitment to try to get down there at least once every 2 months. So
Nice.
my next plan is to be down there at least for the Portlug meeting in March.
That's
So
right.
I
Right.
hope to see you then.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's awesome. So since we had trouble, I think you have to re-present
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah.
show. And while you're doing that, the other thing I had forgotten to do beforehand is load your video clip,
Okay.
your 2 minute video clip. And I didn't know if you wanted to go through that earlier or
Yeah,
if you
let's do the
wanted to.
video first.
Yeah, I got to find it.
Yeah, and then I
That's
can talk a little bit more about customizing minifigures.
yeah, okay. I think I have it. So let me it's loading right now. But yeah, I think one of the nice things about the 2 minute tech tip is that it's kind of like Logan Cookie Time with Tricky Bricks. Is that during a portion of the program that you can say, and now we can, it's Logan Cookie Time. It's like
Uh-huh.
now it's the 2 minute tech tip. So we'll just have to talk for a while it's loading. But for those of you who haven't seen it, I know one of the things that really, and nobody called me out on this. I was kind of sad to see that, but I used this acorn minifig and I put a panda head on it,
I saw
and
that.
nobody said anything about the panda head. I was like, oh, come on, I love pandas. So I was hoping somebody was going to say something, but that's okay. That's okay.
We
We're all
all
good.
noticed. We definitely
I
noticed.
guess it's so obvious, right? I guess that I've done the panda head on Batman. I'm now working on an Egyptian themed mock
Mm,
with panda heads on like Egyptian torsos, and
that's a
I
fun
really
idea.
appreciate you giving us the tip about moving the legs horizontally before you snap them off,
Mhm.
because that's something that I hadn't really explored. I've seen people do it, but it was kind of like,
Right.
do I really want to do that? What happens if I can't get it back on? I think that
Yeah.
was the part. Is I think getting it off was fairly straightforward. It's
Uh-huh.
reattaching it is the part that is just like going, ooh, ooh, I'm not sure if I can do that.
Yeah, and I mean, truth be told, I do have some minifigure legs that are pretty loose because it hasn't been
Oh,
perfect reconnection, so that is a risk. And if you're just
right.
taking photos and it's like still, that's great. But if you're wanting it to like balance on one leg, that could get a little tricky. But
Mm,
that's like, I'd say like 10 to 5% of what I've done is like,
right.
and
And you put the disclaimer out there too. It's
exactly.
like try this on something you don't have a lot of
Yeah,
attachment
because
to.
the first time I did it was actually on Monster Fighters figures, which is the book on me of
Oh,
my Dark Ages, and I had no idea what I was doing and totally just like snapped some legs.
oh
And then, I mean, I didn't
no.
realize at the time how much they would be worth down the line, but then I was like, oh,
Oh. Oh no.
It's
Oh, that's hard. That's hard. Well, and I think too, for me, I started doing this because one of my pirate ships, I was taking the characters from the Dragon Boat race
hmm
from the Lunar New Year from a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and they were all sleeveless
Mm.
shirts, right? And I wanted to have like red long sleeve shirts, so I
Mhm.
started taking all their arms off and then looking for red ones and putting them in. And I just remember I was at a show and somebody says, "Oh, if you want like just red arms, there's like a vendor there. You take like 10 of them for like $5 or something like that." And it's like they're just getting rid of like random minifigs. I go, "That's perfect because I just
Yeah.
need the arms and I need the red ones. And if
Yeah.
I can get those, that would be sweet." And I think that was when I was building the pirate ship live at Bricks Cascade. And then every now and then somebody would come by and they'd hear me go snap, when I'm putting these together. They go, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm just changing the arms out." And it's like, "You could do that?" I was like, "Yeah." And it's legal. It's not, like, you can't touch the minifig. I mean, there are some purists out there. I will be fair that there's some out there that will say, "Oh, that's like sacrilege, right? You
Yeah.
can't take, what was intended out there."
I mean, the custom minifigure community is pretty massive, and I've really
Hmm.
enjoyed. I wish I had like prepared a list of some of my favorites, but there's honestly too many to name. But I've been really following a lot of accounts on Instagram, and they do. So purist custom is a thing, and
Right.
you're still allowed to do arms. It's just nothing like third party parts.
Hmm.
And I think it still counts. You can like cut up Lego decals and like put them on. I think that still
Right.
counts as purist custom. That's still Lego. It's when you get into like painting or sanding, that's where it gets. But erasing prints is another thing. I think that still counts as official.
Oh, people will erase prints too?
Yeah. Oh, did you not know that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not know that. That might be
Yeah.
like step two,
I know.
your
I like
customization.
I had to edit down what I was talking about to get it to be 2 minutes,
Yeah,
and there
I
was so
saw
much more
that.
that I didn't talk about, which is fine. I enjoyed the exercise of like, how can I just make this
Editing.
right size?
And thank you for keeping it to under 2 minutes. That really helped me out a lot.
Yeah,
Okay, so I
absolutely.
have loaded it, and I
Alright.
realized two different things. It's loaded as an overlay, which means when I play it, we're going to be muted.
Okay.
However, I could play it in a screen in presentation mode, and then we could be like Mystery Science Theater, where we're talking about what you're doing. So I don't know which you prefer. We could just run
Um,
the 2 minute clip and
yeah,
then,
I think just have us be muted for the first one at least.
okay, let's do that. Okay, folks. So here is Llano's 2 minute tech tip about how to customize a minifig. So here we go.
Hey, this is Llano, aka Femme from the Block, and today I wanted to talk about customizing minifigures. Anytime you detach Lego parts that came assembled from the factory, you do risk loosening the joints and connections. So today I'm going to show you how to minimize that risk, but I do recommend practicing on something that you're less sentimental about or is less valuable, and proceed with caution. The trick for removing an arm is you don't want to torque it too much from side to side. You want to do your best to just pop it right out and not angle it at all. So I find it easiest if you turn the arm out. It's also easiest if there is a hand on so that you have a little bit more to grab, and just hold the body and legs and pop off. When I'm putting an arm on, I like to use a hard flat surface like a table, put the arm on there, and just pop it on like that. For legs, I also like to turn the leg I'm removing at a 90-degree angle, and when you flex a little bit, you see a little gap open at the hip. I like to just use a brick separator in that gap. Oop! And it just pops right off. It's also going to be a lot easier to remove this leg with a second leg on there. And again, I like to just use the hard surface to pop the new leg on. And then to finish off my rainbow astronaut, going with yellow air tanks, my own sig fig face, and a red helmet. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.
That was awesome. And what's interesting is that I wanted to ask you when you did the snapping that was the actual sound. It wasn't like you had to edit the sound in there, because you often see different videos where, you know, they're like the ASMR videos are very much like that, where they're connecting things and then they're actually adding the sound effects.
Right.
So that was all real sound during all of that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And yes, I agree. That was a cool rainbow fig. And I was mentioning to Llano before the stream started that when she took the white space person and started taking the arms off, it's like, no, not a space character. Why would you do that? And then it made sense, right, when you made it into a rainbow character. But
and I was saying I chose that one because I have 4 of that character. Like the orange one is probably the most expensive in that, so I probably wouldn't do that to the orange.
No, yeah, don't do that to the orange one. And yes, absolutely, Brick Jedi. Yeah, that's a cool looking astronaut. Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, is that after that video was posted, so many people had responded about, I had no idea you could do that.
Nice.
And it's exactly what, and I've seen people do it, but I loved how you put a step-by-step technique about putting the leg in a 90-degree angle, looking for that little gap, using the brick separator, and it was just extremely well done. So I'm really, really glad that you were part of this whole 2-minute tech tip piece. Yeah. Yeah. So I think based on that, I wouldn't be surprised if you start getting tagged on a couple different, changes to minifigs to say, I learned how to do this from Femme from the Block. And that's what I'm hoping with these 2-minute tech tips, that when Llano and I first talked, she was asking, so is this exclusive? Is this only for the Brickanista Broadcast Network? I go, no, please share it. I want this kind of thing out there. And really, this is the premiere, at least in this case. There's other videos that won't be premieres, but so you heard it first here on the Brickanista Broadcast Network, but please feel free to, distribute that, wherever you want. And I'm guessing
I don't have TikTok yet, and I think I have an account, but I don't have any content on it. So
you do have an account because I tagged you on it.
Oh yeah? Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, your TikTok is under your name, Llano, versus Femme from the Block. So
yeah, because I do way too many things. So the block was like my effort to be like, all right, how about put all the Lego stuff in one place so it's easy for you to find. TikTok, I probably won't do that because I do too many video things. But and I won't have the like, here's my makeup TikTok, here's my Lego TikTok, here's my animation TikTok.
I've been debating about that because it's kind of like the lifestyle content blogs where you talk about a variety of things.
Yeah.
For example, I do a lot of robotics now because of my job, which is kind of a crossover with Lego to some extent because there's First Lego League and other things. And then I might be interested in sharing something about cooking because, I practice a vegan diet. So people might be interested in vegan recipes or something. But Brickanista isn't really like a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
I guess it could be. I don't know.
Just have a panda cooking the vegan food.
And you got to throw some bamboo in there. Bam! Boo. Well, I'm glad we're talking through this because it has crossed my mind about you've seen like Gwyneth Paltrow do like a lifestyle kind of blog.
Yes.
Meghan Markle looks like she's reinvigorating the Tig that she had before she married Prince Harry. And it sounds like she's filed the patent with the Patent and Trademark Office, or the trademark rather. Hey, Jenna Tara, how are you? You always upgraded my minifigs, hands, limbs, if they were loose when I was little. Yeah. I took notes for future modifications. Awesome. Well, welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. Yeah, so I think I'm kind of leaning towards that, but it's going back to, you got to rebrand yourself, and when do you post there versus
Yeah.
posting on this, and yeah, but you're inspiring me to really think through that.
I mean, my whole life I've been told I have to specialize to be successful, and it's probably true. But I know, like, as someone that does too many things, I find it really inspiring when I see other people doing too many things.
Right.
And
It can be, it's like you're diluting your, I guess, content in a way. So some people see it as diversifying your content. Other
yeah,
people see it as diluting your content because
yeah,
they're not as focused, right? And
yeah.
Devo is in the house
Hi,
and
Devo.
bamboozled cooking with
Cooking with
Pandy Panda.
I think you've got a market for that. Yeah.
Maybe a lot of people have liked Pandy Panda, and it already is a cartoon character. I just
Uh-huh.
haven't
Do you have
figured
a
out how to
mascot costume?
animate it. Yeah, I've got a mascot already. So
But do you
maybe
have a mascot costume, like, for yourself that you could cook in?
um
Maybe that's the next step.
I do have a mascot costume, but for my Thousand Cranes business.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I have a crane, but I don't have a panda costume. So yeah, and then I have done the voice of Pandy Panda for an animation. It's
Okay.
like, hello there. It's like, I'm Pandy Panda. So I have been the voice of Pandy Panda.
I think you've got something there.
Okay, maybe it's Pandy's place. Maybe
Oh.
that's what it is. It's Pandy's place, and you can have recipes that are vegetarian and vegan, right? Because
You
pandas
just have to finish everyone with, and then throw some bamboo in it.
and it's bamboozled. Right. Okay, we'll talk through this.
Okay, yeah.
I think you might give me enough incentive to do that. And then, it's almost like Pandy's day off, right? Because he's working for the Brickanista Broadcast Network with all of the Lego content. So what does Pandy do on his day off? He, cooks, and he goes out to the park, and he drives robots, or whatever it is.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just my whole feeling on the specializing thing,
Mm-hmm.
I made kind of a New Year's resolution, which it's already February and I don't have much to show for this. So I'm going to say this to encourage myself and to anyone else that needs to hear this. Like, trying to do things perfectly or the way that they're supposed to be done, it like gets in the way of productivity. So
I agree.
if you're not creating the thing because you think you're not going to do it how it's supposed to be done, I want to just like get rid of that roadblock and get out of my own way and just do it and not worry about it. So yeah, I'm gonna have a TikTok and it's gonna have all the things on it. Well, I have
It'll be a variety stream, right?
The Llano
Yeah.
River Blue TikTok.
I love it. I love it. And I'm gonna have to somebody do a search for me if Pandy's Place is taken on TikTok. Because if it isn't, that might be the start. We might have to grab that handle and start talking about Pandy's Place. And yeah, Pandy's day off. Fun. Well, I wanted you to have some time to show. You have a slideshow that you wanted to share with us, and wanted to make sure that you had time for that. So let's go ahead and share that. And we're going to put it in this mode here. And I think too, we didn't talk about this in your video, but your video focused on minifigs, but you also do a lot with mini dolls too.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I wanted this to be the first slide, is because so many people in the Lego community really look down on mini dolls. And yes, they are less articulated. So that is definitely an issue. Like, obviously the leg piece, you can't really trade that out.
Yeah.
But the printing on mini dolls has gotten so much better just like in the last 2 years or so.
I agree.
So this is an example of so we call it fig bashing. If you look up #fig bash, that's a way to like see Lego minifigure customizers. And I don't know if I don't think doll bashing sounds right. So I don't think that's a hashtag yet. But I just wanted to like show you can customize mini dolls. You can use any headpiece designed for a minifigure on a mini doll, and vice versa.
You can also use the hair pieces on minifigs too.
Exactly, right.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is just an example. This was for Bricks Cascade last year. I made like a little rooftop scene for our
Oh yeah, that's right.
collaborative build, and one of them was a little like band performing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to show like you can do this. It is a little, yes, Gem and the Holograms influence, exactly. And a lot of these mini doll pieces are from the Magic Carnival sub theme of last year, which I thought was brilliant and had so many great prints in it.
Yeah.
And then
They also had face prints on some of
so
them where they had like a white mask face. Yeah.
Yeah, so you see that crown one on the guitarist that came in that, and then you can't really see with the pink hair, but there is a little metallic heart on her cheek.
Oh, nice. Yes.
So that's my only issue with mini dolls personally, and flesh tone minifigures is I can't make a custom like sig fig with cute makeup, because those are all the cutest makeup is on yellow skin minifigure.
Oh,
but that is
that's a shame.
Well,
somebody was mentioning too about like just finding, I think it was Flynn who was talking about finding just minifig faces that have glasses and also older ones. So he finally found one. I think it was the Jeff Goldblum one from the Jurassic Park series.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like because now he's in the latest movie, which you know he's still the same character, but you know, like 20 years older. Right. Exactly.
So, yeah, that's just an example, and we'll revisit mini dolls later in this slideshow.
Okay.
So it's February, which is Black History Month, and the last couple years I've done some custom minifigures to I'm super into music. I'm super into like 70s music, which many of my favorite artists in that decade are Black. So this is Sun Ra, who was a leading figure in the Afrofuturism movement. And so it's like sci-fi combined with Black culture, which nowadays we've got Black Panther, which is very inspired by this long lineage of that. And so this is an example of Sun Ra. And the image that I based that on is the album cover for Space is the Place.
Oh, nice.
And nice. So I just wanted to show like another way you can do custom minifigures is, you know, drawing inspiration from things like
music, album covers and what have you.
Absolutely. And then something that, so this is all on my Femme from the Block Instagram, all the pictures that I'm sharing.
Now, can you go back to the previous slide, because the arms here, they're loose, right? Just for the photo. Okay.
Exactly. I'm trying to see if I have it around, but yeah, so I have a behind the scenes photo on this.
Okay.
And this is what that looks like. So you're also, if your goal is to photograph something, especially like an album cover, where it's like specific framing specifically to share on Instagram as opposed to something in person at a convention, you can have a jumble of parts like this.
Right, to kind of show that forced perspective kind of thing.
So this is what that looks like.
Right. And Brick Jedi says that looks spot on. And Debo says, one of these days I'm going to get jaundice. Then my sig fig will be 100% accurate.
There you go. And so this and the next image, I'm using sticky tack. And if you can get it at like a hardware store or like home goods kind of place, people would use it for like
hanging up pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I guess like putting up posters, or like if you're someone that displays like ceramics on a shelf and don't want them to like fall over in an earthquake, you might use sticky tack.
Okay.
But it's super cheap and you hardly need any of it.
Just a little bit. Which a
like,
lot of people use in stop motion too.
Very true. Yeah, and then we'll erase digitally if they're that advanced. And so this next picture is also from last year's Black History posts. This is Sly from Sly and the Family Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is that same arm and leg popping off technique that
Yep.
I showed. And rather than popping them back on, I just posed them with sticky tack so that it resembles this album cover.
Nice. Wow.
So that was a really fun one. And it's a way to achieve poses that you
Mm-hmm.
can't achieve with them attached.
Right. And the arms, did you also maneuver those as well? As far as
Yes.
the
And
sticky
I
tack
swapped the left and right arm.
I was just going to
because-
ask. It looks like the arms are different
Right.
ways.
So
Okay.
that it's the outside of the arm rather than the inside of the arm. The arm is up.
Right. So you could see the sequins and such.
And if you look real close, you can see like a little bit of the sticky tack on the bottom of that arm.
Oh, okay.
I didn't care enough to remove it digitally. And I think
Well,
I did a pretty good job hiding it on the legs, and then
I think if it's black and white, you wouldn't notice anyway.
And then that clear rod in the background is Lego, and that's just attached with sticky tack to the back of this figure.
Okay, interesting.
And let's see, what else do I have? So yeah, and if everyone knows Sly and the Family Stone, if you don't know Sly and the Family Stone, give it a listen. I'm sure you'll recognize.
It's like, how can you not? Well, I guess this goes back to showing your age, right? Like some 20-somethings are like, what?
Yeah, but even they will know it when they hear it.
But you know what I heard is that there's a comeback now for LPs.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
now there's a whole group of people who are looking for LPs of a variety of different genres. Yeah.
So this is another custom one. This is based on Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye. It was very exciting to get the
Queer Eye set. Yeah,
the Queer Eye set, and to get someone who is non-binary as an official Lego minifigure.
Yeah.
And so Jonathan Van Ness has a great Netflix show based on their podcast called Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness.
Oh, cool.
Oh, is it Get Curious or Getting Curious? Now I forget. Don't quote me on that. But the podcast ranges from a bunch of different topics, and it's like interviews with a specialist in whatever the subject is. And so it's not specifically queer, but there was a specific episode that explores non-binary identity, and it brings in a bunch of experts, both people of lived experience and people from the scientific community, and like just exploring what gender and identity is. And so this is Jonathan Van Ness walking with Alok, who is another great non-binary advocate and performer. And so I really, after watching the episodes, I made a bunch of stuff based on this Netflix series. And so this was one where I was like, oh my God, I have to make these figures of these two binary icons. And then they both shared it on their personal accounts, and like a bunch of Jonathan Van Ness's community did it. So it was very exciting. Like, I think that's the other thing. I know some other customizers have had this happen too, where like, if you're making really niche customs, there's a high chance that the person that you're basing it on will see it and share it, because they're just as excited as you are to like have a Lego figure of them.
Yeah. Right? And the name of that show is Getting Curious, confirmed by Google.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I really recommend it.
Good evening to you too. Yep.
There's an episode on skyscrapers that has some Lego in it. There's an episode on bugs. There's an episode on like snacking and nutrition, ice skating. I think it's eight episodes. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Recommend. Educational, entertaining.
Yeah. And is that a YouTube channel, or is it
it's on
podcast?
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But there is also a podcast. I just won't have the cute visuals.
You won't have anything to look at.
And so since I've been showing all of these flesh tone ones and things based on real life, I wanted to show a recent custom little forest folk family that I put together recently.
I like how you call them the forest folk too.
Right. And so, yeah, though many of you may know if you're following me on social media that Forestman was my first Lego set and theme that I fell in love with.
Mm-hmm.
So I recently found these vintage torsos
Wow.
from Blair.
Oh, Blair Archer.
Blair
Okay.
Archer, because he got hired by Lego and has been selling off a lot of his collection that he's not
Oh,
moving to Denmark with.
wow.
And so he sold me these 3 vintage torsos. And
Nice.
so I went and put some modern pieces or some other vintage pieces with them to make this little family. And for that, I felt like I had to go with the classic yellow because that is where the nostalgia
Mhm.
hits with something from
Yeah.
this era. But just an example of how you can take like a modern piece, like this kid in the middle. I think those legs are actually from Bart Simpson.
Oh,
And so that
oh,
was
yeah. And that torso almost looks like a Christmas themed torso.
They are very Christmassy, the forest folk. But
Mhm.
that's an example of the legs are more modern. We wouldn't have had that short legs and the different
Right.
colors in a piece in that era of late 80s, early
Mhm.
90s. And the face, I think, is a Benny face where it's like the classic eyes, but the smile's different.
Mhm. That would make sense.
So just a fun way. This is one of the things I love about
Doing
making
custom
custom
minifig.
minifigures is, yeah, you can combine like the older nostalgic prints with the newer technology of the more detailed printing or dual molding.
Mhm.
So, and yes, Slug Biker is commenting on the nano fig. So another thing that I
Right.
like to do is cut stickers out from official sticker books.
Mhm.
So that is a sticker of a forestman on a green nano fig.
And then since she was mentioning about the acorn kid, that was the one I used for the intro
Mm-hmm.
for your video. And I just love that this hat of his, that acorn hat.
Yeah, the acorn kid is great.
Yeah.
I used a lot of that torso in my Forestman layout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that torso's great, and also the fact it has a leaf for a cape too, which
Yes.
is very different.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
so now she's going to start searching for that nano fig. And acorn kids are cool. Yes, they are. They're dope, yo. I even have the sign.
So just a couple more shots in this. So this is a recent, so many people may know I'm obsessed with Toy Story. There is a Toy Story short called Toy Story That Time Forgot. Oh, Glenn says those legs are not Bart. His legs are blue. So okay, I'm not sure. I get a lot of pieces off of the minifigure section, so maybe they came from that. I'm not sure.
Yes, and the
But that
cape is cool.
That is a relatively affordable way to get cool minifigure parts if you live near a Lego store. I usually don't buy complete minifigures. You just have to buy 15 pieces. You don't have to buy 3 minifigures and an accessory. So if I'll go through and be like, oh, I don't have this torso, I don't have these legs, and I'll just like get pieces, and then I may not know what I'm going to use them for. But
now, do you sort your torsos and legs in a certain way?
Currently, I just have a drawer for torsos and a drawer for legs, and I would like to like narrow them down of like sci-fi town, but currently it's either in those drawers or it's in like discarded custom minifigures that I maybe have never even photographed or shared, and I have to like look through and be like, what did I build like 5 years ago? Oh yeah, I never took this one apart.
Oh. And then apparently the build a minifig was the way to get the pigs too. Yeah, I got an army of pigs as well.
Yeah, I've got a few pigs too.
Other stuff like the panda heads. That's another one. I just got 15 panda heads. Yeah, it depends on what they're selling, and I have to post these photos. But the actual employees wanted to go dig up those panda heads for me, so there were like 2 or 3 of them all digging in there And I didn't even ask. It was just kind of like I said, I'm looking for these panda heads. Do you still have them in the bin? And they said, yeah, we still have a few. And they just went to town. I think it was because it was slow. There weren't very many people in the store at the time.
Yeah,
But
they are Lisa. You are correct. I'm not a big Simpsons fan, and I only got a couple of the Simpsons minifigs. Just like I wasn't super collecting at the time, so I like just got a couple, and I ended up with Bart and Lisa. So you are correct.
Oh, that's true. There are also pigs in the VIP bags too.
Yeah, I have a growing little pig collection. I definitely need to have a farm on my pirate island.
Well, you need a farm, especially if you had Pirates of Barracuda Bay, because if you built that set, it came with one pig for like the 9 minifigs that were in there.
Right.
And before you move from this, I seem to remember a comment that you said that you've been getting more followers because you've been posting Toy Story specific scenes. And do you think that's because there's just, people wild about Toy Story?
Yes.
Okay.
The Toy Story community is pretty huge. And I do like similar to how I was talking about like sharing the picture of Jonathan Van Ness and having them reshare it.
Yeah.
I think, like Star Wars is great, and I'm sure there's lots of people that share Star Wars stuff.
Lots of Star Wars.
The market is so saturated with Star Wars that it's hard to rise to the top. Whereas if you're into something really niche and you're making Lego stuff about it, the people that are also really into that niche but maybe not into Lego are likely to like share it and follow you, I have found.
Interesting.
So with this, like this did way better than I was expecting it to. I'm not posting these to get likes and follows. It's just like I'm really
it just happened. Yeah.
Maybe someone else is really into this. And so there's a short called Toy Story That Time Forgot. Unfortunately, I think it's only available like to pay money to watch it on Amazon Prime and maybe YouTube. So if you haven't seen it, if you know some other ways around watching media for free, I recommend.
You could have a watch party maybe on Discord.
There you go.
That might be the way to do it. And there's a lot of pig comments in the chat right now.
Hi, Spot.
Slug Biker didn't want to, or couldn't get the limb pieces. And then apparently you can get piglets, and Debo wants to build a pig launcher. And yes, hi, Spot. Good to see you. And pigs and piglets are back in stock at Lego Online. So build a minifig is cheaper if they're there. So you get all these tips from the chat, which is great.
Thanks.
And it's so true about the niche market. So that's awesome. I think that Toy Story too. I think they discontinued doing more of those sets. So I think what you've done is you've taken one of their niche videos and then built around that. And since Lego isn't going to do any more Toy Story sets, that was a perfect way to use that.
Yeah, and so there's all of these shorts based on Toy Story. There's also this animated series called Buzz Lightyear of Star Command from, I think, the year 2000.
That's right.
So there's all of these
Buzz Lightyear stuff, yeah.
There's all of these pieces of Toy Story media that have kind of cult followings. And so it's been really fun with this one in particular. Like, people just flipped out about it. Plus, I mean, you got to love dinosaurs and, like, adding guns on them, right? So...
Yeah, and dinosaurs in space, that's another thing. And Jenna Tara also talks about it airing on ABC. So if you get a chance to check that out. So now I've got to start watching it on Netflix, because now that I've watched Wednesday, I'm like looking for my next thing. And I'm started on Dark, but it's whenever you watch a foreign film, you really have to concentrate harder because you're translating. So so this will be perfect. I'll definitely have to watch this. Pigs in space.
Absolutely. So these characters are very much my own interpretation, and this is another thing a lot of customizers will do is like they'll have the whatever their name verse, and so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start the Llano verse, And when I want a
That's it.
character,
That's your lifestyle name, the Llanoverse. That's what you should get on TikTok. Seriously.
So
Seriously,
I've been using on Instagram. I've been using hashtag Llanoverse for anything it's specifically Toy Story at the moment. It will probably expand, but yes, correct spelling. Thank you, Slug Biker.
The Llanoverse, and
it's just hashtag Llanoverse. Have a good night, Debo.
And apparently, Emily in Paris is something I should watch.
Okay. So I think there's a big part of the Lego customizing community is superheroes, and that's great. And there's some really cool ones, and there's some really cool, like, inspiring parts usage that I get out of looking at those. But I'm not I'm not as into superheroes as I am into Toy Story. That's just the kind of geek I am. But I do love when people are doing like their own interpretations.
Right.
The verse.
Right. In my head, Ken, it's the verse.
Right. And it's all, everyone's into multiverses now. Thank you.
But I think the Llanoverse is great because that goes back to the lifestyle blog that you can talk about your pirate builds and Lego. You could talk about some of the performances that you're doing, the music that you're doing, all of that. I think it's a winner, and you're already using it anyway, right?
Yeah. I would have to create a new specific one for my Toy Story Llanoverse stuff, because the way I use hashtags is I want people to, like, if someone sees this and is like, oh, that's really cool, and then never sees anything else I do, like, that's not a win for me. I want like the fellow geeks to be like, oh, I'm really into Toy Story, but I don't want to scroll through all this random stuff and like find the Toy Story. I want you to be able to be like, okay, here's all of the Llanoverse stuff, which in my Instagram is basically, I didn't have the pieces to do an accurate minifigure of this character. So instead I did my own version, and we're calling it like a multiverse, where this is an alternate reality version of this character. So we've had these characters on screen a little bit. This is what they are based on, is these guys.
Okay. Wow. That is so cool. And dinosaurs in space, pigs in space, animals in space. It just, it's cool.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I forget what else is even on this slideshow. Oh, so talking about multiverses. My most recent post is Disney Mirrorverse. And so that's a mobile game, and it's like Muppets and Pixar and animated characters all in the same world. It's an alternate reality version of those characters. They're all fighting for, I don't know. I'm not even sure. I play it all the time, and I don't really know what the in-world mythos is. I just love the character designs. It's so good.
So it's a Netflix Disney Plus series, and I love these so much. I do too. I just love how, and you've been doing this for a while, at least since I've known you and the Tricky Lug family, that you've been doing a lot of these kinds of, and are those fish people the ones in the back?
What do you call them, fish people?
Well, the reason why I call them fish people is that one of the Lego Masters, I want to say it was Brendan and Greg, I think, on their pirate ship built fish people. So they had like the torso, or not, I think it was the torso and the leg, and they put a head of a fish that was brick built. So I was curious and that's why the ones on the back and the right, they look kind of like the fish people. And I was just curious.
The green Cyclops is Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc.
Okay.
And they have him in like kind of a mech suit with a construction helmet on. And then the one in the submarine thing is, in this it's Flounder from Little Mermaid, but in the game it's Dory from Finding Nemo. But we don't have a Dory, so I thought that Flounder was like a good fit for
Flounder's a good close to a Dory fish.
Yeah, and she's in like
color scheme, right? Blue and yellow.
Submarine. Yeah, blue and yellow. Yeah, I think they're based on the same kind of fish.
Right. Yeah. Flounder from Finding Nemo, right?
Flounder,
Or no, Flounder from Little Mermaid.
yes, as a stand-in
Yeah.
for Dory from Finding Nemo and from
Dory was unavailable, so the
right.
stand-in is Flounder.
So, I mean, those ones are brick built. They aren't technically custom minifigures, but
Which is
that's
fine. I mean, that's
yeah,
something we didn't
absolutely.
really cover until now, is that,
Hmm.
and we saw it on Lego Master Season 3, where they made those fish head people on that pirate ship, and that was where you took the minifigs. And I think the other place they did it was the Thor recreation,
Oh
where
yeah,
they took the black minifigs of police officers and things and built like different kinds of heads out of that because they didn't have an army, which
right.
was amazing.
And
Better than Flounder from Animal House.
I think a lot of us did that as kids too. Like, kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
mashups. Now, what's
Mhm.
Maleficent doing there? Is she holding Thor's hammer or?
No, she just has a really cool like staff design in the game that I was trying to kind of
Okay.
emulate. And so all of this, if you go to Femme from the Block on Instagram, it
Hmm.
has like close-ups of all of the characters and some of the reference shots as well. And so I just want to mention too, if anyone isn't playing the game and wants to play Disney Mirrorverse, I do just want to caution you, it's free to download. There are a lot of in-app purchases that are kind of ridiculously expensive. And
Mm.
personally, I'm not trying to like advertise that. I do not give them any money, and I still have acquired most of the characters that I want to. Just takes more time.
Disney is just expensive all around.
Yes. But if you're
Yeah.
just in it for the character design, you do not have to even, it's like kind of like Pokemon where you are able to like collect the
Hmm.
characters as you go along, but you do not have to collect them to like go look at them, and you can like hit a little eyeball icon and like spin them around and like see all their
Oh,
cool character designs.
okay.
So you have to pay zero money to just like look at how pretty the game and character designs are.
Okay.
So I just want to throw that out there.
That's a good tip. And I love that Ursula character too. She's
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
Totally. Yeah. And she's got all these weird like algae ghost things around her. So that's what I'm
Hmm.
trying to emulate with
That's
that.
cool. I've been
Other
debating about trying to get to Disney this year because it's the 100th anniversary.
mm-hmm.
But I was just looking at prices and I was just like, oh my God, you're kidding me. Like one day, a 1 day pass is like, $200. I'm like, what? Yeah. You YouTubed a video of all the character costume designs. Oh, okay.
That's smart too. Yeah.
No. And then Jenna says that Hades is spot on. So good job
Thank you,
there.
Jenna. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Hades was one of the first ones where it was like, okay, I've got all of the pieces. I should just do this. And then it
Hmm.
just spiraled out from there. And when we get more Disney collectible minifigures, I may add to this series. I know a lot of people have been asking me to, so hopefully I will get
So who's your favorite Disney character?
Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, okay. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, and it's hard to answer that because now Disney has Marvel, Disney has Star
Well,
Wars.
yeah.
So is it like classic Disney or is
Right.
it, because even Buzz Lightyear is Pixar, right?
Yes. Yeah, I would say, I mean, in this lineup, and
Hmm.
actually, I think Jenna asked me this the other day, what my favorite Disney movie was. So I was born in 1986. Little Mermaid, I think, came out in '89, but I have
Hmm.
an older sister, so we like grew up watching Little Mermaid all the time and wore that VHS out. The VHS with the inappropriate cover, if you're familiar with that, the old school one.
Yeah.
Um, and
Wow.
and the Little Mermaid story is such a like queer trans narrative of this like person that wants to be something she's not and like transforming,
Hmm.
finding her happiness. So Ariel definitely speaks to me as well, and Flounder is so cute. So
Flounder is great. And also Sebastian, right? The crab,
Mhm.
right? I think he's one of my favorite characters
Totally.
too. Disney is a hungry monster. They
Yes,
will own us all one day.
absolutely. And actually, so speaking of Sebastian, that's another thing I've thought about is so far we only have Kermit from the Muppets in the game. I'm hoping we get more, but we've got all the
Right.
Muppet minifigures and like I've
Right.
got that Sebastian. So this is somewhere else I would love to take this series
Mhm.
is like I don't have to wait for them to make their designs. Like I've figured out my aesthetic within the Lego version of these characters and I can start making Universe Mirrorverse figures too.
You might as well, and, going back to the Muppets, I mean, you could start, putting your Muppet, Llanoverse together, and and the crossover would be Kermit from this one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I have to like I hope they do because Kermit got added pretty recently. That's the thing about
Mhm.
the game is they're constantly introducing new characters. But how perfect would be like Miss Piggy with karate action?
Of course.
And I think they all have like special abilities.
Uh-huh.
And so I also think Gonzo is my favorite Muppet. Gonzo needs to like have a cannon that he shoots out of into the enemies. Like it writes itself.
Yeah, that's true. And then you have the geezer guys, doing their commentary, right? That was like the
Right, they're
original
biting
Mystery
commentary.
Science. Yeah, they're the original Mystery Science Theater guys, you know. Wow. Well, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm curious then, is this your last slide or is this do you have more? I want to
So
make
I've
sure.
got a couple more that kind of changed the topic. I don't know if
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, no,
more,
go ahead.
if there's any more like questions or comments about this area.
This is not a shy crowd, so if they have any comments, they're
All
happy
right.
to chime in.
Okay. Yeah, we can always get back to it.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess let me just touch on real quick within this. So I mentioned mini dolls, and Ariel is in this shot. So
Mhm.
I wanted to mention all of the like neck armor pieces for minifigures. They are too big for mini dolls.
Mhm.
However, there are two hacks to that I have found.
Oh.
And so in this one with Ariel, she's wearing like I think it's a Ninjago piece, and there's like a scabbard on the back for a sword,
Mhm.
that little
Mhm.
shoulder pauldron. So in this one, her hair is just holding that in place.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that is one trick. If you get the right hair piece, and that's something where the rubbery friend's hair does come
Mhm.
in handy because it can kind of like mold around something
Yep.
and hold it in place. This one is hard plastic, but it's like kind of ballooned out, so it was able to like put it at the right angle to hold
Mhm.
that shoulder pauldron in place. The other hack around doing custom mini dolls is if you do two pieces, and I've seen Moto do this. I've seen a couple other people do this where, say, you've got like the pirate epaulets and like the oxygen mask,
Oh, that's right.
or a beard.
I've seen
Um,
that also with the dystopian universe
yeah,
ones
right.
where they're
So if you,
redoing. I think Blair actually did this where you were talking about that mask and then somebody
mhm,
with a mohawk and
right,
the air tank. Yeah.
yeah. So if you do two neck accessories intended for minifigures, then that like fills the gap on the longer friend's neck,
Oh,
and it holds it in place pretty well. So those are some
okay.
tricks if you want to get into customizing minifigures. And you can pop those arms off with a brick separator or brute force and swap them out.
Yeah,
So
they're longer arms, so you can have, more leverage there too.
right, right. And again, mini doll printing is getting better and better.
Mhm.
As is minifigure printing, but it's like more recent. And so yeah, just anyone that wants to get into customizing
You know
mini
what?
dolls, I think it's going to
I
become more and more possible.
I was on a stream just on Sunday with Lady McBrick,
Hmm.
and she goes by Nicole, and she says that she only keeps the hair from mini dolls, and that she's thinking about donating the rest. And I'm going, I have a couple of people I know who would love to have your mini dolls.
Totally.
But it's nice knowing too. You were talking about the texture of the Friends line and the mini doll hair, and how that can be useful for
Hmm.
keeping armor on. And that's something that, do you categorize? Do you separate your hair pieces, the ones that are, the soft pieces versus the hard pieces, or?
Not currently, no.
Hmm. Yeah, I know a lot of people, they do, minifigure right to the, every series and cases and pristine and everything. And then you see other people who just, just another part where they
Yeah.
put torsos in a bin and legs in a bin. And then, and I think Cornado does it that way,
Yeah.
where he just puts everything, in one place. And then if he needs to build something, he just goes searching through there.
Yeah. I'm sure that if I assembled all of the like collectible minifigures that I had, I probably have some like rare and expensive ones that are just in pieces, like where one arm is on one custom minifigure, one leg is on another one.
Well, there's a couple I have not touched, like some of the Disney ones, like Alice in Wonderland, for example.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I bought her specifically for this cookie piece because we had an episode, Remy and I did an episode called Cookies and Cabbies.
Okay.
So it was just random stuff. We put random stuff together. We were building the cab, I think the vintage cab as the build, and then we talked about the cookies and Lego. And that minifig is the only one with this like mint green cookie. And I'm now racking my brain because I used that for a mock and I'm looking for the cookie. It's like, where'd that cookie go? I know it's around here somewhere.
Another trick I use, I'm curious if anyone else in the chat does this, is I'll be like, I know that I used a piece recently, and I'll scroll through my Instagram and be like, oh, it was in that build. Where did that build go?
I've done that. That's definitely, I can definitely account for that. Your Alice came apart to make a shark girl, a statue here in Buffalo. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Well, that Alice in Wonderland though is expensive because it's a hard to find one. But the other reason why I like that piece is it's one of the few with the blonde hair with the black band,
Yeah.
on the hair. Yeah. It's a really, really well done piece.
I mean, the thing about expensive Lego is like if you paid retail for it at the time it came out, like I don't know, like if you're not gonna resell it, it doesn't have value. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's kind of like it doesn't have and if you have an inventory or a collection, it's good to have for insurance purposes for replacement value. But
I guess so,
if
yeah.
you are going to flip it like you would flip a house,
Right.
then yeah, you want to say, okay, here's my stack of duplicates. Like since we were talking about Blair talked about this with the Stranger Things set. That Stranger Things set, he bought 2 of them mostly because the Demogorgon that's the only set that the Demogorgon comes in. So he built the set, and then the next version of the set, it's like, I'm probably going to sell it and I think it's already doubled in price, if not, 2.5. Yeah, definitly.
Yeah.
Too much work to resell. Yes.
Right.
And I want it all.
All right.
That's
So one little departure. How are we doing on time? Everyone's still
we are right now, we're at 1 minute or 1 hour and 13 minutes. So if you want to go for another 10, 15 minutes, I think.
Cool. Yeah.
So Naomi, when we were talking about customizing minifigures and taking them apart, you brought up how you used the legs to create a seahorse and how you can use minifigure parts without the rest of the minifigure.
That was our challenge when we were doing the review of Lego Master Season 2. They had land and sea, and you did the land with the parrot, and I did the sea with the seahorse. And it was just so eerie that our profiles were almost exactly the same. It's like the size of our palm and like 2 bricks thick. And if we had been competing, it would have been like a perfect match. It was so cool. It was amazing. Yeah.
So yeah, for my last couple of slides, I just wanted to explore using minifigure parts. And there's so many ways to use them. and I'm sure some of you have seen some on Instagram, but these are just a couple photos that I found in my collection. So starting with, oh my goodness, where's my window with the photos? So over Halloween, the last couple years, spooky trees have been part of my builds, which are always fun. So this is a tree using legs as branches.
Oh, okay.
So dark brown is not the most common Lego color.
Right.
And so I was like digging through, like trying to find anything I had in dark brown. And I was like, oh, I've got legs in dark brown. Oh, I could use that to angle the branches. So just a thought of another use for legs. You can see there's two.
As a child, I would imagine the pegs on minifig legs were eyes. And they were on alien species called eggs.
That's adorable. I love that. Oh, and so speaking of dark brown, Spot brought up a comment on Instagram that I do want to stress. When you're popping arms and legs off, if you're not familiar, most of us are familiar, reddish brown and dark brown and brownish red. All three of those colors do become brittle with age. So it's not a super fresh.
Some of the blues too. I've been noticing some of my blue bricks have started.
I mean, I've had it happen with purple as well. I guess just in general, if it's a new minifigure part, you should be clear. But if it's an older piece, in addition to risking like having a loosened connection, you do risk cracking that piece.
Yeah.
And if it's a brown arm, I probably wouldn't even. So just keep that in mind if you're doing some minifigure customization.
Yep. And it's as brittle as my teeth. And Brick Jedi really likes this technique that you use with the legs.
Thank you.
As pieces for the tree.
So another one is hands. So can you spot the minifigure hands in this tree? This is not the best photo, but it looked great in person. So just a fun way to use some minifigure hands.
Now, are you talking about hands, or are you talking about the clips with the rod connection?
All of the above. When I'm building something, I just bring out everything that I have in that color and like see what I get inspired by.
Because the black, the clip with the connection for the rod, when I talk with Debo, he calls it a glove clip.
Oh yeah,
but I looked it up and I think it's called clip with bar hole. Okay. So yeah, and it's interesting you show it here because I was thinking about a future tech tip. In fact, I was working on it already. Where's my fence? I'm just going to give this a real quick spotlight. Is that here's another use of that piece is that you can put it into like fences. Ooh. And make some interesting designs that way. So future tech tip in the works.
Totally.
Yeah. I love that piece. It's very
useful.
Very useful.
So yeah, just another use for hands. And then, so legs, I didn't have the picture of Naomi's seahorse with the legs as a tip, but I did use them to create my 3000 post because I didn't have much time. So I just pulled the drawer of minifigure parts, and it was so cool to have one drawer of parts, not like digging through a bunch of different ones, to create all of these curves in all of these colors. And can anyone spot the short legs and medium legs? Can you see which color those are in this photo?
Is it on the second 0 over there? Some of the blue?
No. The lens does kind of distort things, so it might be too hard to check.
Or maybe the last 0 with that lavender looking kind of piece?
Yes. The medium
Purple.
lavender is the short legs on the last 0. Not
And
purple.
yellow one? Is that on the big
No,
3?
no, but you will notice the only piece besides legs that I used was a 1x2 snot piece. Dark
Okay.
red, called it spot. Yes, dark red is the top of the 3.
Yep.
Those are the medium legs.
And definitely an advantage to color sorting. Yep. And congratulations on making 3,000 followers. That is cool.
Thank you. I was hovering at like, I don't know, like 20 below that for months.
Oh, really?
And then I finally made a bunch of posts again. And
You made some posts on Toy Story content, and then all of a sudden
very
it
jumped
true. Up.
And then final use is for Pride.
Yes, I remember this mock you did with the hands.
And so this is fun.
Those colored hands are hard to find.
I would say at least probably like a third of these are from video.
Really? Oh, yeah. Okay, that would make sense.
And I had a bunch of video figures with one hand during this shot, and then I put them back where they belonged.
Oh, Evie Good is here. Hey, Eddie. And Eddie's going to be on this program in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, he used legs for the bows on his Christmas present mock last year.
That's a fun idea. Awesome. Nice. So
I've also seen people use these hands for thatched roofs.
Yeah.
And someday I'll take the time to try to do that. And they also look awesome like that. I agree. Absolutely. So many arms.
And so I wanted to share behind the scenes. I shared this to my story when I made this post on my Instagram. So the way that I got this photo is I made a circle out of Lego, I arranged the hands around it, and then I lifted that circle up.
Nice. Nice.
Also, this shows like an unedited photo because this is the same lighting setup. So I do tend to like pop my brightness up and contrast up a little bit when I'm just on Instagram, not like any other photo editing app. But you can, when you go to edit photo, if instead of doing filters, you just do edit, you can do it all manually. So I usually pop the brightness up.
I like to do that, brightness and contrast. And or are they hands? Yes, they are hands, not arms. Okay.
And they're not technically connected.
But I love that technique that you used as a template to build, your perfect circle and then remove that. That's really clever.
Yeah, and again, it like as I was talking about with minifigures, because I don't have a lot of time to build right now. Like it really came down to like I really want to make a pride post that has the whole rainbow in it, and I just don't have time to like build something really intricate. What can I do? And I was like, oh, this is one piece that I have in that many colors. And
so in this case, you're mentioning some of these are from video figures. So when this mock was over, did you restore the video minifigs to their original condition, or did you throw all the hands into a bin? Okay.
I did. I can share though. So in my torsos drawer, here, let me unshare.
Let me make you full screen.
All right.
There you go.
I'm gonna stop.
Was that your last slide? That one?
That was my last slide.
Oh, okay.
So in my torsos bin, I've got these, which I think they're from. Someone told me what these are from, but I like found them on the street. I think it's like wax melt for candles or something. Come in these tubes.
Okay.
And I was just like, oh, that looks useful for sorting small parts. So that's all my like just loose yellow hands that I pull off of figures to make flesh tone.
Right.
So that's a great way of customizing a figure, is changing the skin tone. And then I've got arms, and I've got some of the flesh colored hands that I have that aren't in use currently. I've got random colors of hands.
Yeah.
And I've got like black, white, and gray. So,
nice.
So that's like a little bit of a sorting system that I have. They stack nicely, so it's it's making do with what you have.
And of course, this channel, people love puns. So I got to hand it to you. You are gifted.
Aw. Thank you, Jen.
And Aussie Adam Bricks is here. Hey, good day. Hey, Spot the Magic Ninja. Yeah, good day. Good to have you here. And
Oh,
I haven't yet dared to remove arms, hands. Maybe soon. You should
interesting.
try. This is why we have this 2-minute tech tip is that, everybody changes out hair all the time, right? We
Right.
don't think twice about that. And people will also swap out the hands, like if you're putting gloves on or if you want to make it more flesh tone, etc. But, to actually pop the arm off, some people are just so scared to do that
A little
when it
squeamish, perhaps.
yeah, squeamish. And I think that's part of why the 2-minute tech tips are to kind of encourage people to maybe get a little bit out of their comfort zone to make their mocks even better. So that's why we're doing this. And perfect trays for small parts. Yeah. And you said those are for candle making, you
I
think?
think
Or
so. I used to live in Alameda, and a lot
yeah.
of people would just like put boxes on the sidewalk of
Oh
stuff.
yeah. And they say free. They do
Yeah.
that up here too.
So
Is
I
that
really just
yeah.
found those like on in someone's free box, but someone told me that they're for wax melts, and I did see them at a craft store. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just about like you could use an ice cube tray or like um, I'm sure there's lots of things you could find for
Right.
something like that.
Well,
I
you definitely encouraged people. That Slug Bikers saw that tip, so it helped. So
awesome.
maybe, and you did put the disclaimer out there about, start with something that you don't have a strong attachment to, because
Yeah.
Glenn mentions that the potential to crack the torso prevents him from removing the arms.
Yeah, and again, I would just if it's an older part, it's gonna be more delicate. If
Yeah,
it's a newer part, I wouldn't worry about it too much. And hands, especially, I have not had an issue with them becoming too loose personally. The arms, it is a little bit of a risk. So depends on how
right.
you want to keep your Lego.
But it goes back to if you're not planning to sell your collection anyway,
Right.
and you want to, and you think about it as art supplies, that you want to be able to maximize the use of your art supplies, right?
Hmm.
And that's something that I hope people have taken away from this. And whatever works. I still have lots of those cups from the advent calendars. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And those are also very handy too. And only seem to have ever cracked the best ones.
Yeah,
A spot.
I've got some of these trays that are by Sterlite.
Oh yeah.
That have like a
Those
little
are
tray
nice.
inside of them. And I actually
Yeah.
found half of the advent calendar fits in the bottom of it pretty well.
Oh, look at that.
That's pretty fun.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look for those because I have the advent calendar trays, but haven't figured out where to put those. I think that's always a challenge too when you're trying to come up with your sorting system.
Yeah.
Well, great.
It's a never
This
ending challenge.
this has been awesome. And
Yeah.
just to reconnect with you again, because I know you've been really busy with work, and uh, I don't know if Remy is still in the chat, but for those of you who missed last year's Lego Masters Season 2, Remy and Llano did that for the first 6 episodes, and then Llano and I picked it up from the last set of episodes. And I had so much fun doing that with you.
That was a lot of
And
fun.
you helped me get out of my comfort zone too with regard to things like glitter and face prints and lipstick and more makeup and all of that. So I need to keep stretching that. So don't be surprised, folks, if you see some new looks coming in the future. So and Aussie Adam Bricks, yes, some of my old figs from the 70s and 80s are cracked, but
Yep.
all had lots of play. Yeah, I mean they're well loved, right? Well loved pieces.
So, yes.
And
Yeah,
Slug Biker says they're changing the advent calendar, so some are using the cardboard dividers, right? Which is, I think, the one you just showed, right? You know, the cardboard white dividers, right? And you
It
can
was
check
easy
before
to
you
cut in
buy.
half with scissors.
Yeah, peeking in the box to see which one you're using. Yeah, I have one of the older advent calendars. They use the black plastic,
Hmm.
and the new one has, it's almost like an egg carton kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you, everybody, too, for hanging out in the chat. Slug Biker, Aussie Adam Brick, Spot the Magic Ninja, Glenn Copeland, Brick Jedi, Jenna Tara, EB Good, Debo was here earlier. I know Remy was here earlier, too. Just thanks for hanging out with us. And maybe we're going to call it Pandy's Place, right? In the future, the Pandy's Place lifestyle blog. But also, don't forget to follow Llano at Femme from the Block on Instagram. And also, she mentioned this hashtag, the Llanoverse. And I really think you should roll with that for a lifestyle blog of some sort. And you're listening to the Brickanista Broadcast Network. Please remember to like and subscribe to the stream. Any comments too also help. And if you also want to send a fan mail, you can send it to the Brickanista Broadcast Network, P.O. Box 31956, Seattle, Washington 98103. And I know that we had talked about conventions earlier, and if you are planning to go to BrickCan in Vancouver, that's the next stop for me. That's what at least what I'm planning to do. And thank you also for a great stream, y'all. Thank you. I appreciate that. There's more comments here. Yeah, cardboard are the a grid. That's the newest. The previous advent calendars used the white cups, right? And black or clear plastic have been gone for years. I think the newest ones are even different from the egg crate style. Wow. Shows you how far behind I am. Thumbs up, everybody, for rock and roll. And thanks for the stream. Take care, everybody. And yes, Llanoverse. Go for the Llanoverse. I agree. So thanks, everybody. And as they say on the Brickanista Broadcast Network, thank you so much. And may the clutch be with you. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.